Happy New Year late night from Los Angeles as the Utah Jazz fall to the LA Clippers. Final score tonight for the Jazz, 118-101. This game is really interesting because if you take the first 5 minutes, the Jazz got outscored 16-0. If you take like the last 5 minutes, the Jazz probably got outscored by like 15 points. And the rest of the night, the Jazz actually were the better team. Or at least played better. When you don't have Keontae, you don't have Lowry, you don't have Nurkic, you don't have all those guys, it's probably right. This is POSTCAST. I'm David Locke along with Ron Boone. What's your overall take on this one? Obviously, Kawhi dominated late, but what's your overall take on this one?
Obviously, Kawhi won the ball game in that fourth quarter. But if you wanted my overall take as far as the Jazz players are concerned, I thought that at the beginning of the basketball game, sometimes players are trying to do exactly what the coach wants them to do, and the game plan, stick with the game plan, and they're everything that they tried to score was perimeter in that first quarter, and it just couldn't get it done. And all of a sudden, they fall behind, and it took Kyle Anderson to come in the ball game to start putting the ball on the floor, scoring in the paint, and he had 16 points there at the half. So that was my, but my overall take, David, was I think coaching staff was pretty pleased with the way they played.
Kyle Anderson's incredible tonight. He's +7. The Jazz lose by 17. Every other player on the Jazz roster is negative tonight. Kyle Anderson in 31 minutes is +7. In the 16 minutes, he really played 32 minutes. In the 16 minutes that Kyle Anderson was not on the floor, the Jazz got outscored by 24 points. I mean, that's a crazy number.
It's definitely a crazy number. But you look at the turnovers, that may have been the big difference. But Kawhi had it going, and David, I don't know what you do with a guy like that, because he's just so good at getting to his spots, and he just knocked them down.
I mean, what's interesting about Kawhi, Ron, is the 16 three-point attempts is the most he's ever taken in a game in his career. Ty Lue has tried to make an emphasis on this team to take more threes. They came in now 10th in the league at taking threes. He's put an emphasis on it. Kawhi's played along with it. That was part of the pregame press conference tonight conversations. But the other part of this that is just so interesting to me is I think it makes Kawhi a far more dangerous player. Like, if he's actually shooting 7 or 8 threes a night and you have to deal with that part, and he's not just backing into the mid-range as an isolation player, it's why he's averaging career high, and it makes him a more dangerous player in his 14th year in his career than we've seen before.
So you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I thought that, obviously, they took 51 3-point shots tonight, which is quite a few.
We only took 27, by the way. I will garner to guess there's not a team that took 24 fewer threes than the opponent that has won a game in like 5 years in the NBA.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. But Kawhi's game now and for some reason I'm watching him play and I'm thinking his game has changed quite a bit, because I just don't remember him playing so much with the ball in his hands. And I know your numbers corrected me, but I just don't remember that part of his game. And so my immediate thought went to him and James Harden are playing the same game. And is that a good thing or what? But whatever the case, as you mentioned, they had won 5 in a row. Now they won 6 in a row. So it's working, but I just don't remember him playing that game.
It's an interesting question. We talked about this early in the broadcast about the fact that the Clippers' 2 primary scorers just don't need assists to score. And then how do you run an offense when your 2 primary guys don't need assists? The other thing we talked about throughout the broadcast is that they have been really bad this year when Kawhi's on the floor without James Harden. That was not the case tonight. This was their best performance of the year when Kawhi was on without James Harden.
So that tells me that he's got to be more offensive minded. He got to be more aggressive, and he doesn't rebound that well. I mean, not well, but it's averaging 6 a game, and I think he averaged 6 a game last year. So he's not a dominant player as far as going and rebounding. So his points and his ability to get to the free throw line is probably going to help this team the most.
All right, let's go to the Jazz. A lot of guys got opportunities. Some guys really thrived tonight. Other guys I thought really struggled. I thought they all at times looked like they had too much on their plate. Sometimes they, I thought Isaiah Collier's fourth quarter was like a really good representation of the night. He had 3 straight baskets. He threw 3 passes away.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of representative of the night. Cody Williams has to be the highlight of the night from the guys other than Kyle Anderson. He took 5 of his 10 shots as threes, but we saw his strengths tonight. We saw really, I thought, good defensive effort. And we saw him driving the basket, and his ability to get up athletically is really special.
Yeah, so he gets 26 minutes on the floor. And we've talked about this before, the minutes that you can get, extended minutes anyway, you get a chance to get in the floor of the basketball game and actually show your skills. And, hopefully going forward, he can get to the point where he's in this rotation and now he gets into a groove. His confidence is there. He's not out there on the floor playing not to make mistakes and just play the basketball game.
You always have this great phrase of whether someone forces themselves into time. Has his defense in the last week or two forced himself onto the floor?
You mean about demanding minutes?
Yeah, demanding minutes. Like coaches hate when you say that, but I like it. I'm going to keep making.
Well, the reason I say something like that is because if you're doing some of the right things on the floor, you're trying to tell the coach, I want to play. So I'm demanding that you play me but coaches don't like that.
Coaches don't like that.
I know Quinn Snyder didn't like
Quinn
it
did not
as well.
like when you asked him that question once. But like my point is Cody playing? It's the other way to phrase it. Has Cody played well enough that they have to reevaluate whether he should be a rotation player because of what he does defensively?
If he continues to look the way he's looked tonight, and I think his minutes will go up. I'm not going to say he's starting to demand that I'm a rotation player, but I would imagine that his minutes will go up. And I know his minutes, I looked at a couple of days ago, are not 12. Is that about right? Anyway.
Yeah, they're limited. The last 5 games, give me 1 second. Last 5 games, Cody has been, actually, I don't have minutes played. He's averaging 4 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. I mean, he's not shooting well. He's still shooting 38%. He did hit a few threes tonight, which he had not hit any in the last 5 games.
Yeah. So the only thing that his confidence needs to build is being a reliable shooter. He can go to the rim. He uses both hands around the basket. That's excellent. But that 3-point shot or somewhere in there, the confidence this needs to get just a little bit better.
I like the fact he pulled trigger on a few threes today, as much as he's been struggling. I still
2 for 5.
I'm still a pretty good believer in. I'll just say this: he's got some special skills. His ability to drive to the basket, his ability to get off 1 foot and get over the cup. As he get 2 things have to happen. If he can get stronger, so he can hold a straight line on those drives, which he's doing better this year, and 2. If he can make just enough shots that you have to close out on him, then he becomes really interesting. And I do think he can be a really good defensive player in this league.
Yeah, I agree with that as far as the defense is concerned. But I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, we all are.
I'm rooting for him. I hope that happens.
Bryce Sensabaugh had a tough first half of the night, but then he came back in the third quarter, scored 12, 14 points, and helped carry the Jazz back into that game.
Yeah, 31 minutes. And again, there's the minutes that guys need to put numbers and points on the board. Now, coaches probably will see something else from these guys. I know that some of the numbers look good and they're feeling good about themselves, but coaches will see something else. There's always you did this, and then there's that but.
You have to be really careful about the numbers because they scored 101 points. You're going to score 101 points in the NBA now, almost every game. And so somebody has to score those points, right? And so it's a little hard sometimes to know whether those are just points that are going to be scored. The Jazz offense tonight was a 106, so it was a bad offensive night tonight. They weren't going to score 12 points tonight. They weren't going to score 60 points tonight. They were going to score 100 points tonight. Like, that's how the game works. You just get enough. They're NBA players. You get enough. And so it's sometimes what the separator is like, okay, did they just get their points because they got their minutes and they were on the floor, or did they play really well? And I think that's a very hard separator to figure out on nights like tonight. It's more obvious, frankly, the guys who didn't play well tonight. Like, that really stands out. There were some guys who had really rough nights tonight where they got the extended time and they really struggled. That stands out. That's really obvious to be able to see. It's hard to tell, like, just did the points just happen in the course of a game when you're minus 15 or you're minus 18 on a night, or did you actually have a good night? I think those 2 things are complicated. All right, the bus is in 20 minutes, which is going to make posting this very difficult. So that wraps us up, but let's get us your stars tonight.
Well, got him checked off here. And you can agree or disagree, but I got sense of Bostic the way he 31 minutes, he had 20 points, but he came on strong, I thought, late in the ball game. And then Collier, even though he turned the ball over, but he's still trying to make plays. So coaches sometimes don't get upset when guys are trying to make plays, even though he had them turnovers. 10 assists, he had 16. I got him. I got Cody. I got Kyle Anderson, obviously. And Walter Clayton, I thought, was kind of steady when he was out there on the floor.
That's interesting. Yeah. All right, let's do it. Those are the stars tonight. Jazz fall to the Clippers. We're heading to Golden State. Then we have Portland and Oklahoma City on this road trip. We come home for a road trip of home games, and then we go back on the road. It's a January on the road. We'll see how the Jazz deal with it. Thanks for tuning in to POSTCAST. Hope you're having a happy New Year.